Hello everyone, you've got me this week, but I'm going to take on something Brigitte started, talking about God talk. And now that I'm officially retired with a long grey beard to suit, I've been looking at all the stuff I've ever written on the subject of God talk. And I've come to the conclusion, if I reduce everything to its simplest, there's only three pieces that I really would be that bothered about if the computer crashed and the house burnt down and I lost everything. We've got three pieces here. And I've divided them. The philosophical approach, the scientific approach, and the poetic approach. Let us start with the philosophical approach. The renowned 19th century Unitarian minister James Martineau once preached a learned and erudite sermon in Liverpool. After the service, he was approached by two well-dressed, genteel ladies who congratulated him on the excellence of his sermon. It was wonderful, they said. It was marvellous, they said. I know it must have been, said one, because I didn't understand a word of it. Need we think that because we no longer believe we can speak with absolute certainty about ultimate things, about God, good and evil, or life and death, and what lies beyond, that we should therefore not speak of them at all? That the job of the preacher is to comfort or to entertain, perhaps with a sprinkle of learning or an occasional uplifting story, and that the ultimate subject of what may lie beyond our endings and beginnings, being ultimately unknowable, is best left untouched. No, I am not of that opinion. I am of the opinion that in all matters, theological and philosophical, if something cannot be simplified, it probably is not true. And the fact that theories of a supreme being or a supreme meaning no longer command the deference that they once did is not, for me, a limitation, but a liberation. For now I feel free to declare that there is, hidden behind these intricate and difficult theologies and philosophies, a supreme value in life and in living that can be expressed in terms of relative clarity and simplicity. So what is a preacher to say? Especially a Unitarian preacher who might be speaking to an audience where someone who has heard the word God used so loosely or abused so foolishly that they really do not want to hear it again, may be sitting beside someone who is just waiting or even just aching for someone who will at least try to say something fresh on the subject of God, especially a preacher whose personal faith is a relationship between intellectual doubt and emotional certainty that might be different every day. I would want to say that the one essential truth about life and death that all religions teach and that every religion shares is this: that love is never wasted, and that wherever love is, there is God, and wherever God is, there is love. If there is one line in the whole of the Christian scriptures that we can point to as utterly and unalterably true, and true for all times and all peoples, it is that line from the evangelist John where it is said, God is love, and those who love live in God, and God lives in them. I cannot prove it, and I could never prove it to anyone who does not want to believe it. But this is the truth of the soul, that love is never wasted, and those who strive to make this life a work of love will find that love awaits them at its end. This is the truth of the heart. Love is never wasted, and each soul that loves survive. And there is a God that loves us and a spirit that does not die. Second piece, the scientific approach. I can say I believe in God, and I mean that there is a transcendent depth to life, that there is, in the selfless centre of the self, a unique depth and beauty that is the centre of gravity of consciousness, a liberating and transforming essence that gives pattern and purpose and an indestructible dignity and validity to individual existence. I believe this because I know it to be true. I know this to be true from my own experience, from the experience of many people whom I have met and talked with, and from wide study. I may also say, I believe in God as a timeless and transcendent consciousness, as a compassionate and creative intelligence, giving pattern and purpose to the universe and to all of life. I believe in God as the source and essence of all things, enabling, sustaining, and ultimately reconciling all things. I believe this because I hope it to be true. What I know to be true makes what I hope to be true, not a fanciful delusion and not a romantic dream, but a realistic and reasonable assessment of what is possible. When I bring what I know to be true and what I hope to be true together, then I have what I believe to be true. There is no scientific evidence for the existence of God, but there is ample scientific evidence to support the validity of religious experience. And the existence of God is a reasonable inference from that evidence. We cannot put God under the microscope or view God at the end of the telescope, nor can we recreate God under laboratory conditions. But we have not yet managed to pinpoint a quark or any other quaintly named subatomic particle under the microscope. But we can be certain, beyond a reasonable doubt, of their existence because we can observe their effects. Nor have we, to voyage quickly to the other end of the cosmic scale, managed to precisely, for certain, fix the position of a black hole at the end of a telescope. Yet we can be certain, beyond any reasonable doubt, that they exist because we can observe their effects. Thus we can be certain, beyond a reasonable doubt, of the existence of the sacred, the numinous, of the holy, of God, as a dimension of human experience and as a depth within human consciousness, because we can observe the effects. We can observe the transformation in the real lives of real people, from Paul on the road to Damascus, or the Buddha's enlightenment, or the contemporary evidence collected by researchers. Transformation which dissolves crippling inhibition or anxiety and replaces it with a profound emotional security, a security which is located in a feeling of deep belonging and acceptance, and which produces not only a deep and enduring faith in God as a guiding spirit, whether you use the name or not, but also a deep and abiding faith in the value of human experience. I've got a few pieces from other people now. This is a reading by Sophia, Lyon, Fahs. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive and lead the way into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days and fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating saved from unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever grown with the upward thrust of life. Sophia, Lyon, Fahs. I do hope I haven't lost anyone yet. When I was in training for the ministry, we had a phrase called space cadets, which we would use to any preacher, or speaker, or worship leader who just went over everybody's heads. I would really like to think that anything I might have to say would make sense, not only to a professor of theology, but to whoever prepares and serves him his dinner, and whoever collects the dishes and washes up after him. And now, especially for those with the hands in the washing up bowl, here is the poetic approach. And it's a very personal approach. I came to believe in God practically by accident, much as I imagine a fish would feel who one day suddenly notices the presence of the water in which it lives and moves and has its being. It did not come with a blinding light or blast of thunder, nor was it the culmination of a conscious intellectual process or philosophical inquiry. There were neither bells nor trumpets nor angels singing hallelujah. It was not a startling revelation or the entry into my world of something new, but a sudden, fresh realization that made everything seem new. There was never any sense of God as the creator and controller of the universe, but of God as the hidden heart and soul of the universe, as the source and center of the love and grace that animates and illuminates the universe. There was no blinding light or blast of thunder, and there was no burning bush. I simply noticed the presence of something that had always been there. There was no great feeling of God standing over the universe and looking down upon it, but a very strong feeling of God fully embedded in this universe and looking out from within the very heart and soul of the universe, looking out at every heart and soul that lives and saying nothing more than simply, I am here. And although I do not feel that God exists somewhere far off, in distant space, standing over and above the universe, with the grace I have been given, I have come to understand that God does stand above the universe in the sense of time, that God is truly timeless, that God was there before the universe began, And when the universe is finished, and all the living things have long since gone, and the last remaining star has collapsed into the very last atom, and when that atom has folded in upon itself and faded into utter nothingness, then God will still be there, holding that nothingness in the tender embrace of his infinite love and mercy. Now I have a reading from Robert Terry Weston, concluding with a very short reading from Barbara Peskin. Robert Terry Weston. Cherish your doubts. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendant of truth. Doubt is the key to the door of knowledge. It is the servant of discovery. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. Doubt is the touchstone of truth. It is an acid which eats away the false. Let no one fear the truth, that doubt may consume it, for doubt is a testing of belief. The truth stands boldly and unafraid. It is not shaken by the testing. For truth, if it be truth, arises from each testing stronger, more secure. Laws that would silence doubt are filled with fear. Their houses are built on shifting sand. But those who fear not doubt and know its use are founded on rock. They shall walk in the light of growing knowledge. The work of their hands shall endure. Therefore, let us not fear doubt. Let us rejoice in its help. It is to the wise as a staff to the blind. Doubt is the attendant of truth. Worth by Robert Terry Weston. And this is a very short reading from Barbara Peskin, which would, had this been a live service in the church, form the benediction. Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of, and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too dream. Let us go, remembering to praise, to live in the moment, to love mightily, to bow to the mystery. Barbara Peskin. And before I say goodbye, can I just show off my lovely t-shirt? It is Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the radical German theologian who was murdered by the Nazis, and it says, the greatest mistake in life is being afraid to make a mistake. So I leave you hoping that you don't just swallow everything I say and agree with it. Challenge me, question me, test me if you like. And I'll leave you a quote from Oscar Wilde. If everyone agrees with me, I begin to feel that I must be wrong.